Who is more important to Golden State, Durant or Steph?
Steph Curry is more important. Kevin Durant is clearly the better player. But Steph Curry is their most important player because everything they do is predicated on ball movement and him and Klay constantly running around on string. What Kevin Durant is a luxury. When things are not falling, you can say, Kevin, go down to the block. You dump it down to him, and there's no answer for him. There's no one he can't shoot over. There's no one he can't post up. He has great touch, mid-range, got the three-point. But the most important player is Steph Curry, and you saw it on full display last night.
Oh, really?
Whoa. Skip, we're not in church.
Were you watching?
I don't need an amen.
What
I just let me go and let me get to my my
You're going to get a blasphemy from me.
Let me get my hype moment before you say amen and talk to and preach.
Yeah.
Steph Curry is the most important player. Kevin Durant is the best player. And what you saw last night was because of what Steph got going in the third quarter. He saw the ball go in early, and the next thing you know, he couldn't miss. And what was an 11-point game ended up being a Nowitzki, a 41-point whitewashing. So there's no question in my mind. Kevin Durant is the best player. He's the second best player in the NBA. But the most important player is Steph Curry because we've seen this team win a championship without Kevin Durant. We have yet to see him win one without Steph.
Excuse me, Eddie, it's my turn because I cannot let him get away with the just silliness that he was just spouting because it was just pure silliness.
What happened?
Kevin Durant is both the most valuable player and the most important and the guy or whatever you want to say. He's all that rolled into one because even let's just look at last night. Golden State was up 11 at half. They were winning at half in spite of Steph Curry, who was 1 for 7 from three in the first half. And they were up 11 because Kevin Durant had overcome the 1 for 7 because he had scored a game-high 15 in the first half because he is the most valuable player on the Golden State Warriors and the most important player on the Golden State Warriors. And if you look at Steph's history, routinely, his PER, and you'd love that stat, his player efficiency rating in the regular season has fallen in the postseason. He's never lived up in the playoffs to what he has done in the regular season during which he won back-to-back MVPs. So what happened in the finals last year? Kevin Durant was both the most valuable and the most important player because he made all the big shots in the closeout game. He was the finals MVP. And this year they faced one big test, and it was Game 4 at New Orleans after they'd lost Game 3 and gotten wiped out in Game 3. And who took over the game and scored 38? It was Kevin Durant. And Iguodala talked about how it was Jordan-esque. When he gets to his spot, nobody can stop him. And Steph, going into the game, going into the second half last night, was 3 for his last 23. And then they're already up 11. And by the time he made his second three-point shot of the game, that put them up 17. And as D'Antoni correctly said after the game, hey, it's easy to make three-point shots when you're up 14 points because there's not nearly as much pressure. So it was great to see Steph finally go off, but all the building blocks have been provided once again by the guy who had the biggest plus-minus. Eddie hates plus-minus, but the biggest plus-minus in the game was Kevin Durant's plus 27 because he's all of the above for the Golden State Warriors. And by the way, your guy broke through with one lucky championship against Golden State, and who came up really small in those after down 3-1? It was a lucky because Draymond got suspended, so it's 3-1. And then what happened in Game 5, 6, and 7? Go back and tell me what happened to Steph Curry. Did Bron happen to Steph Curry? Because he was pretty terrible. Do you remember fourth quarter of Game 7 when Kyrie finally hit the shot of shots? Steph Curry in the fourth quarter that night was 1 of 6 and 1 of 5 from 3 with 3 turnovers. That's just horrendously bad. Seriously? And you're telling me he's the guy for Golden State? That's just wrong. You're just trying to discredit Kevin Durant again.
No, I wouldn't do that, Skip.
Listen, Kevin Durant, of course, is the biggest piece that they were able to add. But Steph, I think, is the most important for this reason because he helps that team go. The way they play, how do they play? Ball movement, move the ball, move their bodies. When KD gets going, what do? They stand still. They throw it to him. They ISO him. That's not Golden State's game. Everybody else, when they need a basket, they go to Kevin. Everybody move out the way and ISO basketball. Same thing with Houston. But that's not how Golden State plays. They are a move the ball, move the body team. And when they're not moving like that, then everybody else suffers. Then you're going to see Klay not be able to get his off like that. When KD was killing by himself, it was just him really killing. Draymond was struggling a little bit. When the ball moves and hops around the way they play, everybody touches it, gets a little feel for it. That's when they're dangerous, and Steph is the catalyst of that. He always moving around.
Well, he hadn't been a postseason
Well,
catalyst.
first of all, Skip, see,
But we're just talking about the team overall.
yeah.
You can't take Steph
I
off the
love
team
how
and
you
feel
see,
like they still going to be rocking.
Skip tried to gloss over. He talking about, who won the finals? Just so he and I both know, in last year's 5-game series, Steph Curry was 27, 8, and 9. KD was 35, 8, and 4.
5.
So
Missed it by 1.
So
That's
I'm
okay.
just
Don't shortchange it.
so I'm just saying.
Kevin Durant in the finals last year made 47% of his three-point shots.
And I think also
47?
the important thing with Steph, too, is the way he makes his shot.
Yes.
Like KD, when he gets going like that mid-range game he had going game 1, it was a thing of beauty. I let out a holler when I was watching. I was like, I haven't seen a performance like this in a long time. Somebody taking advantage of the mid-range game because it's either a layup or a 3.
Right.
Well, Steph, he gets the crowd going. He gets his team
That's
going. Not only with his shot, but with his handle, how
really.
he creates his shot. So that's why I
So,
think
Shannon Sharpe, what story do you constantly bring up on this show? After Steph Curry came up so small in games 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah.
No.
5, 6, 7.
5, 6, 7, I got it. After that, what happened? Draymond went into the parking lot, and what did he do, according to you?
Yeah, he was crying. Called Kevin Durant.
Call Kevin Durant. We need you. Why would he call Kevin Durant when Steph's the most important player on the team?
He's still the most important.
Oh,
That doesn't mean he's
really?
the best.
Huh.
He knows once that old big old monster he had gave that guy Skip. Once a guy beats you, he feel comfortable. So what they had to do was go get the second best player because the way that team was constructed, if they'd have kept that team intact, they weren't not going to beat Cleveland. You and I both know without Kevin Durant, they're not beating Cleveland in the finals last year.
Tough.
So Kevin Durant is the best player. Skip, he's the second best player in the league.
Yeah, and neither of you guys ever want to talk about defense because LeBron plays little to no defense except for Saturday night. But Kevin Durant was 4th in this league in block shots this year, and all I ever hear, Steph's a liability on defense. Don't I always hear that?
What was he in game two? What was he in game two?
I thought he played
what was
real
he in
good
game
last
two?
night defense at first. When they were going at him, he figured it
What
out,
would he
and then he
always
started
hear?
going at them.
Yeah.
Let me ask you
okay.
a question, Skip. In game two, what was Kevin Durant's stat line?
Game 2?
Yeah. The
Well,
game they
nobody
lost.
had a stat line.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm trying to figure out.
What was Steph's?
Steph struggled.
Yeah, thank you.
But that's my point. When Kevin Durant has to take on more of the scoring load.
They had a terrible game. They did not show up because they thought they could just sort of roll the basketball out there and Houston would shrink.
What was
And Houston didn't
Steph
shrink.
Curry's stat line last night? He had the same amount of rebounds. He had the same amount of rebounds as Kevin Durant.
Yeah, Kevin Durant had a real quiet 25 points, but the ones that really mattered were the 15 in the first half because they're up 11.
And Steph had a block shot.
Wow.
One more than Kevin Durant.
Oh,
That's
something.
defense. You just yelled about block shots, though, didn't you?
So Steph went off on Houston after Kevin had already softened them up and put them in a hole that they were not going to climb out of.
Hold on. You said Kevin Durant had a quiet 25?
Yeah, he had a real
I
quiet
know
25.
I know a guy on Saturday night had a 27, 12, and 5 game. That was so I ain't even know it.
Let's change the subject.
You ain't even know. Hey,
You didn't know he was in the game.
No.
Hey, there is no doubt that guy is the most valuable and the most important to the Cavaliers, especially when he plays defense.
LeBron had done did him so bad. They went to urgent care and said, son, we got to send you to the trauma unit. You need 15 pints of blood. He had to gut him just that quick and they didn't even know it. He didn't have a 27.
Interesting. You know, I rarely quote Charles Barkley, but even Charles said at halftime that the difference in this series, what it boils down to, is that Golden State has Kevin Durant and Houston does not. And that's true. That's what it boils down to. Yeah. Game over.
He's their best player.
Yep.
He's what makes them in a series almost invincible. Yes, Skip, no question. But the most important, when Steph Curry is splashing that ball, he's letting it go, and he's running back up court before it even hits the net, that crowd goes bonkers.
Well,
The bench goes crazy.
How are they up 2-1 on the team that won the most games in the NBA with Steph really struggling until they were already ahead last night?
Well, I'll tell you, James Harden's not playing any defense, man. He's giving up straight line drives
But
all
here's the
day,
thing.
That's
every day.
Houston.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. In game 1, yes, he struggled, but Klay Thompson gave you 29. You forgot about that.
I didn't say anything
Oh,
about
I know
that. That
you
wasn't
didn't.
part of this discussion.
No, what you tried
Kevin
to do.
Durant
no,
is
you,
the MVP
no,
of this
but you
team.
no, I know why you didn't.
Yeah,
Because
he's
you
the
would
best
have
player on the team.
Huh?
He's the best player on the team.
Best
Well, I
player
don't know
But
how
not
you say
most
the
important.
most important. What's the difference between MVP and most
No,
important?
being the best on the team and being the most important is two different things.
different things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think there's.
Okay, when they lost to Cleveland, everybody said Draymond was the most important player on the team, but was he the best on the team? They say that's why they lost.
So why they
Ain't that what they
that's what
say?
you said. You said
And that's why they lost, so that's what it means. That's
they
it right
weren't
there.
ready to lose.
You understand that, though, don't
Eddie,
you?
let me get some of that, Eddie. Oh, Eddie done came out the woodwork with that one. Somebody done slid Eddie that piece of paper and put that in
But
there.
there was no Kevin Durant at
Well-
that point. And all of a sudden you take away Draymond, and now they're.
Well, no, the point was
They
most
had-
important
they
is
had
being the
never
best
had-
player. The most
they-
important is being the best player.
are
Two different things.
So
Skip,
where
know
was
that.
Steph without Draymond? What happened in that game? Where was he? He was awful in that game.
What game?
That game that Draymond, Game 5.
What?
But he still was the best player.
Kyrie put 41
on that team.
him.
Yeah.
So what were you
But
going to
it
do?
showed that Draymond was the most important in your mind, right?
Yeah.
And then Bron came back and gave you another 41.
But after that, they still had a 3-1 lead, and they got Game 7 in their building.
Yeah.
What happened in the fourth quarter to Steph Curry? Help me out.
Bron did it.
Oh,
And
Bron
Kyrie-
did it? Was he guarding Steph? I don't think he was guarding Steph.
Skip. Did
He had that closer,
Skip,
Kyrie.
You do realize in Game 7 he had a 27-point triple-double.
So
you do realize he
the
led
most.
everybody.
Wait a second. We're talking about Golden State. The most important warrior.
Yes.
Steph Curry was 1 for 5 from 3 and 1 for 6 from the field in the fourth quarter of that game. So you had him. You were right there. It's a close game,
Skip,
right?
The way
Things
it goes down to the
Skip,
wire.
The way I do
Things
it,
happen.
Things
Skip,
happen.
the way I do it, I don't look at a player if he has a bad game and says, okay, I got to knock you
But that
down.
was the game and the
It doesn't
quarter.
matter. He was still the unanimous MVP.
Wow.
Did they take that award back from him?
From who?
Steph Curry.
Which one are we
The
talking about?
unanimous
From the
MVP.
regular season.
So you can't
No,
go. Oh, you
we'll
don't
stop at the regular
Why you
season.
still go? Why you keep going game by game?
Well, this is it. The money's on the table right here. You're
Okay.
at home, and you're telling me this is the guy for Golden State. He's the most important player, and boy, he just shrinks.
He loves Larry Bird.
He was terrible.
But Larry Bird in the finals in the game 6, he had 8 points. Cornbread Maxwell was the MVP.
Did he
But
win
no-
championships? Wait a second. Well, hold time out. Are you telling me Larry Bird was not the MVP of the Celtics or the most important Celtic? Was he not both of those?
Cornbread Maxwell had to be that series.
Cornbread Maxwell.
He
Hold on,
was
wait
the
a minute.
MVP.
You just told me that
The
Kevin Durant
MVP,
was the MVP,
right?
Finals MVP. He's
Yeah.
the best player.
Yeah.
But Cornbread Maxwell wins it. He's not.
Are you telling me that he's more important than Larry Bird? Tell me. Help me out.
I'm telling you what you told me.
Yeah.
The guy that wins Finals MVP is the best player in the league.
Well, Steph
That's what you
still
told me.
hadn't. Iguodala won MVP.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Steph still hasn't won an MVP of a final.
So that means
That don't mean
Iguodala was the
nothing.
best is the best player in the league. I'm just
Yeah.
using your logic, Skip.
Huh.
That's all I do.
No, I'm
Paul
using your
Pierce won
logic.
MVP in
Yeah.
the series for us. Was he the best player on our team,
What-
or was Kevin Garnett? Or was Paul the most important?
really
Kevin
care.
Garnett was the best
Yeah.
player.
I don't really
Yeah,
care.
you care.
I just
Yeah,
know
yeah,
Kevin
yeah.
Durant is the best warrior. You know it, and I know it.
He's the best
He
player.
is.
I think
he
Steph's
is.
more important.
But that wasn't the question. We didn't ask who's the most
Warrior?
best warrior.
Steph electrifies the crowd, his teammates.
He
And
electrifies
did
you.
Did you
Oh,
hear him
man,
say?
come on.
this-
Not you.
What, did you hear him curse last night? Steph never cursed. Go
No,
to church
yeah.
every day.
You know what? That was incredibly rare, and it just shows you the level of frustration from the most important Golden State
Yeah.
warrior. He was so frustrated, he let out an F-bomb.
Yeah, and the
this is
frustra-
my house.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't
Because,
think he'll be frustrated no more.
yeah?
Yeah.
He got that
Okay.
monkey off his back.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like now all of a sudden, what about your guy? Let go. Let effing go.
Who says that?
You know who said
I don't
it.
know who says that.
Tom
Oh,
Brady?
Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady.
Oh, Psycho T.
You mean the
It's
GOAT.
a
That's all. You got it there.
yeah,
Eddie, thanks
yeah.
for joining
He's
us.
a real
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.